That's who I am. That's what I do. I'm about empowering people to live their best life, to live a happier and healthier lifestyle. I share like simple techniques on little things that you can do to really find that fullness in your life, because a lot of times you always feel like there's just something missing. So I get like deep down to the nitty gritty. You know, I talk about time management. I talk about health and wellness, how to get to a place of self-actualization. You know, finding true self, finding out who you are, not who other people have dictated your whole life and told you this is who I am, but really getting to that place where you really know who you are and understand who you are so you can live in your highest and fullest potential. So that's what I do.
Good evening. Welcome to the International Grapevine. Tonight is a special episode with Ms. Georgia Woodbine, who happens to be an author, speaker, lifestyle transformation coach. This is a young lady that's been around for a while, an excellent speaker, and she's been around for a while. So we decided to bring her on the program tonight to have a small chat to find out a little bit of her background, how she got started, how did she get to where she is. Because the truth of the matter, the fact is that she's done a wonderful job. And I mean, a superb job. And it took us a while to find her, and we're very thrilled to have her as our special guest. Welcome to our program, Ms. Woodbine.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, it took us a while to get you, and now that we find you, we just want for you to be comfortable and express to our viewing audience a little bit about you. How did you get started in public speaking?
The funny thing is, you know, speaking has been something I had a great fear about. And one of the things I teach people as a life coach is to confront your fears. Because when you confront your fears, that's where your gifts are, that's where your talents are, that's where your natural ability is. And so I remember going through some difficulty in my life, you know, hitting some obstacles. I lost my job. I had a health scare. Some things were happening in my life. And so it really forced me to dig deeper and to start asking myself why. And so when I started asking myself, why am I here? I started realizing, wow, I have the gift to write. Wow, I have the gift to speak. Wow, I have this natural ability to teach others to change their lives through their mindset. So that's how I stumbled upon speaking. I was not always a great public speaker because I had a great fear. And so one of the things I teach people is once you're talking about something that you're passionate about, you don't get that fear. So once I started talking about all the things that made me feel good and that I was passionate about, that's where the doors started opening, where people started reaching out to me to speak at women's conferences, at churches, at corporations, you know, and things of that nature. So that's how the speaking began after I started writing books.
How long it took you to get rid of the fear in you? Because as a public speaker, I working for a lending institution, I had to speak a lot in public. And I remember flying into Dallas one day and getting in front of people, over 30 people, do a presentation. Right. And I just was a mess until I said a joke, then I got loosened up. How did you lose that fear?
Well, you know, I think any speaker, and it doesn't matter how experienced you are at speaking, I think everyone gets that nervousness initially.
Like a butterfly.
Yeah, when you're speaking to a large group of people that you don't know. But for me, I was able to overcome that fear because I started focusing more on my passion. And when you are exercising your gifts and when you are operating in your passion, that fear just starts to kind of like disappear, because you're talking about something that you love, you're talking about something that you know, something that you've experienced, and something that you're passionate about. So I think that once you understand that, you don't teach, one of my famous quotes, which I created, is I don't teach what I don't know, and I don't lead where I don't go. So if you're going through certain experiences, you can share that with others to help them change their lives, then that's where the passion comes from. And people, I think for me, it's all about being authentic, meaning being authentic, being transparent, sharing your truth with others. And I think that's what embrace others when I do public speaking, is that they feel something. And the reason that they feel something is that they can identify with some of the struggles that I had, that I overcame, to help them wherever they are in their life at that point.
Excellent, excellent. Did you get any coaching at the beginning? Let's say you might have seen somebody as a public speaker, and then otherwise than what you've been through, you kind of got the itch for it. Did anyone kind of coach you a little bit at the beginning, or you didn't need that?
You know, it's so funny. One of the things I always talk about is that for me, I think that once I understood what my gifts were, one of my gifts are speaking, but I didn't know that. And I think as young children, sometimes when you don't expose your children to certain things, they don't really know they have these gifts. Like my grandson, he's 3 years old now, and I started exposing him to the piano at 9 months old. He was sitting at the piano at 9 months old. And there I realized, wow, he has a gift. Like at 9 months, he wasn't just banging the keys. He had his fingers on each key. And I'm like, wow, he has a gift. So I believe that we all have gifts, but sometimes we find it later on in life. You know, sometimes we don't know, we have these gifts and talents, and sometimes they're dormant. And until you're really put in a place where your back is against the wall, because when do people start looking for their gifts? Times like now, when they're isolated, when they don't have access to things that they did before, it gets you to start thinking on a different level, like, maybe I need to do something on the side, or maybe I need to try to do this, or maybe I need to start my own show, or maybe, it gets your mindset starts spinning, like, what are some of the things that I can do? And I think that when your back is against the wall, and when you are forced to shift, meaning shift your consciousness level for things that you know you're good at, but you didn't know you were really good at, that's when it all starts to kind of come full circle. It's all when you start to realize, wow, this must be a part of my purpose, because this is something that I really enjoy. And now the stars have aligned. And even though people are looking at COVID-19 as a negative thing, there's a lot of positivity that's come out of it, because I believe there's a lot of great stories that's going to be told, and a lot of new businesses that's going to start during this time.
It's very interesting what you said, and it brings up the point what I've always thought about survival. You do what you have to do. You find out that intestinal fortitude that you didn't know that you had, and that came out in your case, and that's specifically, and it goes right back also when you talk about COVID-19, the things that happen, things that you survive, when people do whatever they have to do, and they find out about an internal strength that they had no idea that they had, and that's great stuff. Well, obviously, you have a tremendous record in the industry all over the place. When, about year one, year two, when did you say you started mastering the craft, that you knew that, you know what, I got it now. I'm getting there.
When I wrote my first book in 2005, I remember I was going through a really rough time in my life. I was going through a health scare. I had a major surgery that was supposed to be outpatient surgery that ended up being 12 hours. And I think with that health scare, that really pushed me to write my first book. I remember I was on a job that I'm not gonna say I didn't like, but I just didn't like the person I was working with. And, I felt that, I wasn't really, living in my highest potential on that job. And so I got sick. I got sick on the job. I was dehydrated. All I remember is that I was in the cubicle one day, and then I turned around and the smell came across my nose, and I just passed out on the job. And I remember when I woke up, I was in the hospital. And when I woke up in the hospital, I was like, oh my gosh, what happened? And they said, well, you're dehydrated. And I remember working long hours, 12-hour days. And, I think a lot of times people are in situations and they really don't know how to get out. And so they stay stuck in these stressful environments, stressful situations. That's really not healthy for you, because we all know that stress is what creates health issues. And so for me, I think that's what happened. And so I remember like being out on disability from work. And I remember HR calling me saying, okay, well, when you come back to work, And I'm like, I'm not ready. I'm not ready yet. So they finally said, okay, you need to come back to work on this date, because if you do not come back on this date, you no longer have a job. And so at that point, I had to make a decision. And one of the things in life, when you are going through transformation, you have to confront what you're trying to change. You cannot, abort that process. You can't like duck it and say, well, I'm going to keep doing things the same way, but I want my life to change. And so for me, that was my aha moment. That was my wake up call. And I said, you know what? Do I really want to go back to a job that was not serving me, that made me feel a certain way about myself or made me feel a lot of stress? And so that's when I decided to write my first book and started doing all the things that led to my passion. Now, one of the things I share, especially as a life coach, because I have a lot of clients that come to me that say, Georgia, I want to change my job. I have a passion. I have something else I want to do. My whole thing is you have to have an exit strategy. So you don't want to just walk off your job and you don't know how you're going to generate income for that next year or 2 years. You have to make sure that you have a cushion to kind of work with so that you can go out there and try something and know that, okay, now I don't have to stress about my bills, because you cannot be creative if you're constantly stressed about how you're going to pay your bills. So you just have to be smart about how you transition, and you have to take your time. Don't rush it. One of the things that you said that what I'd like to piggyback off is where you talked about survival skills. And there is a book called Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. It was a book written back in 1946. And it's about this Holocaust survivor. His name was Viktor Frankl. And he chronicles his experience as a prisoner in the Nazi concentration camp and during World War II. And he talks about how he used the psychological approach to find meaning in life that helped him to survive through this concentration camp. And he spent the rest of his life after that teaching how he'd learned during the worst times of his life, how he was able to find purpose in tremendous suffering. And there's a quote that he says, which stands out so profoundly. He says, everything can be taken from a man, but one thing, the last of human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given circumstance, to choose one's own way. And that stood out to me because that is so profound.
That's strong. It's very strong. And it shows a sense of purpose, which is the same thing that happened to you. You were in a job where you weren't going anywhere. You didn't like who you reported to, the stress, the anxiety, and not only that, amazingly, you came out of the hospital with the help of God, and you build an intestinal fortitude to go forward. And amazing, not only that, you wrote a book after that, which shows that not only God was with you, but your internal strength and your sense of purpose of climbing that ladder to get out of the situation that you was into. And kudos go to you. That's remarkable. It shows clearly that you're a very strong-minded woman and a determined person to get to where you want to get to, when you want to get to where you want to go. That's amazing. I love that. What was the name of the book that you wrote, the first book you wrote?
So let me give you a little quick history about my first book. So before I wrote my first book, I don't want to say a dream, because to me it was more like a vision. And I remember I was in my bathroom on the floor and I was crying out to God, and I was saying, God, show me the way. I want change. I want my life to change. Show me what to do. Show me how to do it. And I remember just crying out in my bathroom. I remember I think it was the next day or two, I had a dream. And in this dream, I'm sitting in a dark room by myself, and the curtains, I'm sitting in a yoga position, and then I see the curtains start to pull away. They start to open up. And in the dream, I'm about to jump up because of that fear of the curtains moving on its own. And so something says, just sit patiently and wait. And so I'm sitting there, and then all of a sudden I'm looking out of this window, and I'm in this dark room by myself. So that's the fear talking. And so I'm staring out the window, and it's like cloudy, and it's raining, and it's thundering, and I'm staring outside of this window, and all of a sudden I see my hands come into position like this. And then I look outside, and I see a mountaintop going up into the sky. I see a form figure sitting on top of the mountain. I don't see a face, I just see a hand. And so the hand does like this, just like releases a note to me. And so I'm sitting still in the dream in the dark room, and then I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden it's like loose leaf paper, like 5x7 paper, and it said, "Do not fret nor worry. Everything you're going through is a test to make you stronger. I will grant you the desires of your heart." And honestly, you know, people say that could be a dream, but to me, that was a vision. Because I remember calling my mom after I had the dream. And I said, "Mom, I had this powerful dream." And I don't ever remember getting a message in my dream, or even getting to the end of my dream where I could even tell you what happened in the dream. And so that was really the beginning of my transformation for me. One, surrendering, because in that dream, because of fear, I could have gotten up and I could have tried to run out because of fear. But something told me to just be patient and to wait, which is also, you think about life when you're going through changes and you're so quick to jump and make decisions. And sometimes we're not patient because we're so used to being in control. And then the dream, because I surrendered and I said, I'm going to be patient and wait, that's when I got the message. And that's when I got the message for the book. And that's when I remember waking up and I was like, how am I going to write this book? I don't know what I'm doing. And I remember getting 7 people. God gave me 7 people came to me. He said, contact these 7 people. And I don't know how it happened. It just happened. And I remember reaching out to those 7 people that really helped me to formulate writing my first book. So I'm a Christian. I believe that everything is through the Spirit. And if you allow yourself and you open yourself up and surrender yourself to understand that we don't have control. Look at what's going on around us. We don't have control of what's going on around us right now. But to understand that even though you don't have control, you have to learn how to lean on a greater faith beyond yourself. And so for me, that was basically the message, and that's how my first book came along.
Excellent. Well, that wasn't a dream. That was actually a vision that you had, and thank God that it worked out for you. We're here on the International Grapevine talking to Ms. Woodbine about our presentation, speaking skills, motivational speaking and stuff like that. We feel blessed to have her here, and especially for you youngsters who are in school and college and who's seeking a career. You might have heard the first 15 minutes of the things that happened to her, how she came to be, how she took possession of her life and stuff like that, and started around. And because of that, she has knocked on quite a few doors. She's been on TV, she's been on radio, she's been at university, she's been in churches, giving presentation. So when we get back on the International Grapevine, we'll have the opportunity with her giving a minute presentation to you. We'll be right back on the Grapevine. You're watching an episode of the International Grapevine. This is your host, Wallingford Lee, a weekly program that deals with everyday issues that impact our lifestyle, such as the economy, real estate, education, and employment, just to name a few. Welcome to our weekly program. That's on YouTube and also Facebook, the International Grapevine. And again, this is Wallingford Lee, right here in the International Grapevine with our special guest, Ms. Woodbine, who has been kind enough to be on our program and talked a little bit about her, how she got started in her career and the things that she's achieved. And it's amazing. The first 14 minutes I've been spent talking to her about how she got to where she got, and how the Lord has touched her to and brought her from a job she didn't like and stuff like that. So on this second half here, we're going to have the opportunity for her to give you like a mini presentation about the 5 secrets to create a life of love. And she will go into it a little bit deeper than I can. I am not that versatile like she is. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to Miss Woodbine.
Thank you. What I first would like to start off with is one of the things I like to share with people in life is that you should create a mission statement for your life. Why do I say that? I say that because people think that mission statements are only for corporations, for non-for-profits and organizations, but no. You should also have a mission statement for your life, because when you have a mission statement for your life, it helps to give you clarity on what it is that you should be pursuing in your life. So let me just share with you guys what my mission statement is. And my mission statement keeps me aligned. That means that because I know my mission in life, I'm not going to have people pulling me left and right, front and back, different directions, not knowing which way I'm going, because I know what my mission statement is. So I, Georgia Woodbine, am a change agent. I'm a lifestyle transformation coach. I'm an author. I'm a speaker. And my mission in life, I, Georgia Woodbine, am here to inspire, to motivate, and encourage 1 million plus people to transform their mindset to change their life. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about understanding your, not only creating a mission statement for your life, but understanding the type of mindset that you have that could be preventing you from getting to that next level in your life. So what do you mean, Georgia? Well, there are two basic types of mindset that shapes our lives. There is the fixed mindset and there is the growth mindset. What is the fixed mindset? The fixed mindset is a mindset that tells you, this is my life, is carved in stone. I was born in this area, so this is the way my life is going to be. I can't try that because it's too hard. I'm not going to do that because I'm going to fail. I'm not good at that. You're good at that. You know what? It's too hard. So that's when you know you have a fixed mindset. What is a growth mindset? A growth mindset is you understanding that you can change whatever you want and cultivate it through work and effort. So because you understand that you can have a growth mindset, that means that I can try something. I can do something different. I can learn how. Think about what's going on in the world. Everybody across the nation is using Zoom. Everybody is learning how to do it. Students are learning. Teachers are learning. Everyone's learning how to do meetings. So this is a new way of technology, but you can learn this new way. So when you understand what type of what type of mindset that you have, now you can confront it. So one of the things that me and Wallington was talking about earlier is that you cannot change what you don't confront. So you have to understand what is blocking you from making that transformation in your life. Now, you have to start asking yourself, George, I want to create the life I love, but how do you, right? Because we're talking about the 5 secrets to create the life that you love. So you have to ask yourself, what would truly make you happy? Okay, what's going to make you happy? You have to start letting go of your past experiences, your preconceived notions of what you think happiness means. Letting go of anything in life can be difficult, but especially those old thought patterns, the bad habits, and figuring out, well, what do I have to do differently? Because change is always about you working on yourself. You can't expect change because they say insanity is what? Doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting to get a different result, right? So you cannot do the things the same way if you're trying to get a different result. You have to figure out another way. So we all have the ability to change things in our lives, but it starts with thoughts and beliefs. And the one thing that we have the freedom of is the freedom of choice, right? The freedom to make decisions, right? To make decisions where we are mindfully aware of how to create the experiences that we desire. So what most people don't realize is that you can change whatever you want to change within yourself. You can't change other people, but you can change you. You can change your response. You could change how you react, and you can change how you think. Okay? So the first step to reshape and change your life is to change the language that you're speaking to yourself. You're probably saying, Georgia, what are you talking about? The language I'm speaking to myself. The words that you're putting out into the universe, the words that you are using that are cultivating and shaping your life. Everything that comes out of your mouth is being manifested into your present reality. So, what are you speaking to yourself? What are you speaking? What are you putting out into the universe? What words, what language are you using? So one of the things I talk about with understanding why we do the things we do is understanding that there was a study done, and they said the average person has between 12,000 and 60,000 thoughts a day. Of those thoughts, 95% are repetitive and 80% are negative. So this is why you are continuously doing things the same way, because it's easy to think negative and to say, you know what, I can't be successful. I can't do that. I'm going to fail. And it's okay. It's all about reshaping your mindset, retraining, really, right? It's about retraining your thought process to understand that you have the ability to create whatever it is you're trying to create. Now, what is mindfulness? Mindfulness is really about being present with your current experiences and accepting them as they are, and understanding that you can change it, embracing it. I'm not saying reject it, because when you reject things and you resist things, that's where you feel the pain. That's when you feel pain, really, honestly, people. When you reject it and you feel like I have control over this thing, but you resisting something is what creates the pain. So when you learn to resist less and to embrace more, now you can get closer on that path to what it is that you're trying to create, because we're talking about how to create the life you love. So one of the things I always say is ask yourself, are you living by default, or are you living by the power of intention? Okay, I'm going to break that out for you. When you are living your life by default, you feel like there's something's missing. You lower your expectations to avoid disappointment. You tend to blame others for where you are in your life. You become frustrated with the life that you have and feel that you have no control over what's happening to you. That's when you're living by default. Now, how do you know when you're living by the power of intention? I'll tell you. When you are living by the power of intention, you focus on your why and not your how. What do I mean? You focus on your purpose, your why you're doing what you're doing. You don't worry about who, when, where, how, and what. You focus on why. Why do I want this? What is my motivation behind having this success, having this changed life, having this beautiful relationship, having this healthy lifestyle? What is my purpose? You become aware of how to deliberately create the things you desire by mastering the power of your thoughts. That's living by intention. You don't worry about life because you understand that you are living in the present. So you don't worry about your past. You don't fret about your future. You focus on your present. That's how you know you're living by the power of intention. So does it take more work to live by the power of intention? Yes. Does it take more focus? Of course it does. Does it take more effort? Absolutely, it does. So our thoughts are always manifesting what we think about, right? So negative thoughts create negative emotions. Negative emotions create negative circumstances. This also works in the reverse. These are all signs that you are vibrating at a low energy vibration. Fear and doubt, chaos and confusion, anger, stress, spirit of lack, negative thoughts, resentment, and jealousy. Those are all signs that you are vibrating at a low level. So how do you start vibrating at a high level or positive level? Well, you start to speak positive affirmations to yourself, positive words, reaffirming. What's an example? I am joy. I am peace. I am love. I am happiness. I do what I love. I create the life I want. That is speaking positive affirmations to yourself, people. Now, I want to share the 5 secrets, and I'm going to break them down. The 5 secrets to create the life you love. Now, the first step is make a list of the things that you enjoy doing. Why? Because when you figure out which activities make you happy, now you can start to laser in that direction. So what is it that you enjoy doing? That's secret number 1. Secret number 2, find out who is your perfect customer, okay? So one of the things that I share is you have to define your product or service from your customer's point of view. And what problem are you solving? So many times I hear people say, I want to start a business, but you have to solve a problem. If you want it to be effective, if you want it to be productive, if you want it to be successful, you have to figure out what problem you're solving. You know what this is, right? These are the iPhones, right? So when he came up with this idea, he said, I'm going to solve a problem so people can check their emails, look at their text message, do everything on this one piece of equipment. So I am solving a problem. I am saving you time, and I'm allowing you to have access to everything on one piece of equipment, right? So think about what your product is, what your service is. What problem are you solving for someone? That's very important. Secret number 3, learn how to turn your passion into profits with a purpose. And I love that, because when you're passionate and you're joyful and you're happy about what you're doing, that's where all the creativity comes. That's where the innovation comes. That's where the ideas come from. And it just starts to just flow. So the secret to running a profitable business, to identify a need and filling it. Think about how your passion relates to others. Discover your purpose, find your passion, create a product and then market the product for while you're doing what you love. So I'll give you an example. I didn't know I can speak, write books, motivate people, do life coaching. These are all things that started to come to me as I started to tap into my purpose. I realized, wow, I had to get to write a book. But not only that, how did I turn it into profit? So I've written several books. One of the books that I wrote is called How to Choose Your Career Path. Why did I write that book? Because I was in a struggle to finding my career path, okay? I wish they had a book like that when I was in high school. So I targeted this book to high school students and college students. And what did I do? I created a curriculum around this book to help students figure out what their purpose is. And how did I do it? I set the book up as these. You can either start a business or you can either prepare yourself for the corporate world. So it had 2 sides to it, because I was exposed to both sides. So I said, I'm going to write this book and I'm going to take it to high schools and the colleges. And one of the things that I realized that they don't teach in schools is how to tap into your purpose, how to find things that you love, how to create your career around something that you love to do. And so you'll find a lot of college students going to college for something that they had no interest in, just because somebody told them this is what you need to do to make money, and that's the way they go. And they go through this period in life feeling like, I still feel like there's something else I want to do. So that's why I wrote that book. And how did I make it profitable? I turned it into curriculum and sold it to high schools and colleges. So that's what I'm talking about, tapping into your passion. So that was my personal experience finding my passion. So what is secret number 4? Setting goals and taking action steps. That is crucial to your success. You have to establish concrete goals and based on your passion, and you have to set physical goals and action steps. People think that you could just say, I want to do something in life, but you have to write it down. You have to have an action plan. And the last secret is to build your empire using passion. Once you set a vision and commit to it, you're halfway there. So be consistent, show up, create your passion, practice getting balance in meditation and visualization and affirmations, and create financial flexibility for your transition. So those are the 5 secrets to create the life that you love. And I also want to let you guys know that I am going to be giving away a free guide. It's the 5 secrets to create life you love. It's a free guide. And if they go to my website, www.georgiawoodbine.com, put their name in, put their email in and their name, I will email you this free guide. And all the things, a lot of the things that I talked about, you will get more in this guide. So make sure that you go to my website, www.georgiawoodbine.com. And also I have a course on the 5 secrets to turn your passion into profits. So that's something else that you can go to my website for. And, there's lots of different products. When people say, oh, I want this, but I can't afford this, or there's no excuse. I have a value ladder of all different types of products just for you. So there is definitely something there for you. So go to the website, go to get the tools, and you will find what it is that's more appropriate for you.
Well, not only that, we'll put the website immediately so that they'll have the opportunity to see that. I don't have words to thank you for this presentation that you just gave. It's a big wake-up call to those out there that has certain problem with indecisions and where they want to go. We feel extremely motivated to have this interview with you because we knew how important it was. And more importantly, we wanted to have you on the program, and it was really valuable. We don't have words to thank you for being our special guest. And we hope somewhere down the road we'll have the opportunity to work with you again.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. Thanks for putting together such a platform to really inspire people, because I think right now people need it more than ever. So I just want to take the time to thank you for, people don't know what goes on behind the scenes when you do things like this, but I just want to say thank you for taking the time out to do it, and that encourage people to take advantage of the information, of the resources that are there for you. You don't have any excuse anymore to say, I'm stuck or I can't move in my life. Use the resources, the tools that are given to you. A lot of them are free. You have no excuse. You have to take action. You have to take action.
And not only that, make it happen. Well, Georgia, again, in behalf of the family of the Grapevine, I want to take this opportunity to tell you, thank you so much for being our special guest. And we hope to have you back on the Grapevine sometime in the future. Thanks a million for all those beautiful information that you gave out to us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And again, this is Wallin for Lee saying good night for the International Grapevine, and I hope to see you next week at the same time, at the same place.